Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to this webinar on de-icing prioritization. This is a re-recording because we had a pretty big technical issue. And I'm here with Fons from Delft, and he will describe everything you need to know on this challenge. Fons, it's all yours.
Thank you, Anthony. Good afternoon or morning to everyone. My name is Fons van der Ham from the city of Delft. I'm the project manager for SCIFI from Delft. Today in this webinar re-recording, we will be actually talking about the de-icing prioritization, one of the 7 challenges of the first call of the SCIFI project. The first call was opened on July the 2nd and will run until the 2nd of October. So you still have a couple of weeks. There is a general webinar regarding the call available also online, and this one introduces the specific challenge of de-icing for Delft. Will take up to 40 minutes, but it could be less. You can always ask your questions via the website. The SCIFI project itself is a consortium of 8 partners from the Netherlands, Belgium, France, and UK. It's basically a European project commissioned by the European Commission via the Interreg 2Cs program, where it's funded by our 4 cities, mid-sized cities, 2 in Belgium, Mechelen and Bruges, 1 in Holland, Delft, and 1 in France, Saint-Quentin, who are working together. Interreg 2Cs actually says that it's the countries around the North Sea, some regions in those countries who work together on this project. And further, we have 4 other participants, like the University of Southampton and Faubourg Numérique, who are actually not cities, but they are cooperating with specific knowledge in this project. We have 2 open call cycles. This is the first one. The second one will be starting by mid-2019. So this call, as I said, open until October the 2nd. We have 7 challenges we share amongst the cities in energy, environment, and mobility, basically sustainability areas, which are of increasing importance to our citizens and specifically to our citizens and cities in those areas. There is an online application form, and after you have applied, after October the 2nd, there will be remote interviews for shortlisted companies, after which we will select the companies which have the best proposal for a solution. And the experimentation will then be from January until the 1st of July. For every company which is selected for defining a pilot, there is up to 10,000 euros of financing. As you can see in the timeline here is that the challenges are open at the moment, and by the end of June 2019 we all hope to celebrate some very good development of solutions which can be used in this case for de-icing in the city. We offer up to 10K to support any pilot or proof of concept solution. If you develop a solution which at the end is really applicable and can be used immediately, there is a possibility of a full solution implementation in the city and maybe in other cities. During the process of the pilot, the first 6 months where you work on, you will be working with the city. We help you in co-creating and give you full access to our support, our data, and other knowledge we have available to make this a successful pilot. We'll help you also with training and advice. Afterwards, if the proof of concept is successful, we will help to disseminate the opportunities amongst peers and cities, and commercially it's interesting because we can introduce you to cities, investors, and mentors, and we also provide, if needed, access to hardware and equipment such as sensors. And of course, we'll provide you access to open data, and we'll tell more about that in a moment. The funding is basically for prototyping your solution. In the budget, you can put some salaries, travels, consumables, indirect expenses, etc. You can, of course, spend much more than 10K if you want, but we will only finance up to 10K. If you spend more money, we'll finance the amount you need. Equipment can be purchased by the city, but we'll do that in close contact with you because there are some limitations in the amount we can spend in that area. Who can apply? Basically, every organization, every legal entity in the EU 28 countries, including the UK or Horizon 2020 associated countries, can apply for this challenge. That means startups, students, SMEs, everybody with a smart city solution to these challenges can apply. No consortia, only single entities, and you should be incorporated when we sign the contract. This means, especially for students, you can apply now if you don't have a legal entity yet, but as soon as you get selected, you have to see to it that you have a legal entity established before we sign the contract. More information is also on our website, smartcityinnovation.eu. Apply. Then a bit more about Delft. Delft is a pretty old city. William of Orange lived here, the founder of the Netherlands, and he was also buried here in the church. The city has a very historical city center, very interesting, very attractive. It also attracts more than 3 million tourists every year. But next to that, it's a very innovative city because we host the world famous Technical University of Delft. And therefore you also see that of the 50,000 houses in total, there are more than 13,000 houses for students. A total of a bit more than 100,000 citizens, which is growing still like many cities in the Netherlands, and therefore also the problems with all kind of issues like maintenance, etc., are growing. Today we have more than 3 million square meters of roads, including bicycle roads, very important in the Netherlands, many bicyclists. I once heard that we are the second country in the world in the number of bicycles per capita. Only China beats the Netherlands. The costs are about, for de-icing, are between 200,000 and 400,000 euros a year only for Delft. So imagine how much that is for if you can apply a solution to many cities. And the total cost of maintenance are 35 million a year. The challenge is actually that the city has a responsibility for de-icing slippery roads and snow removal. It's getting a bit less, this slippery roads and snow, because of global climate change, but we still have this issue, and I don't think it will be gone within the next year. So the current protocol is very predefined and static. It says larger roads are more important, and we're not looking at the usage of the roads. So we need more flexibility, more customizations to actually get a higher service level for the citizens. And of course, whatever we develop or what you develop is actually on the customization of de-icing routes and planning, which is then more real-time kind of approach. It can also be used and be extended to other route prioritization challenges, such as the waste collection, which we also opened as a challenge. So the expected outcome is that we see some tools or a tool to provide smart solutions for treatment prioritization, maybe even a crowdsourcing app, an app for the citizens, so that they actually report what they see, and also ideas of improved data set combinations and data sets which are usable for real-time treating slippery roads. The expected impact for Delft and for all the other cities where we can implement it, and you can see the nice pictures. It's a kind of a nice view, of course, this snowy landscape and the historical city of Delft. Quite romantic, but well, you see the person on the bike on the right, and if you fall with a bike there, it's not very romantic anymore. So therefore, we would like to see the increased efficiency in treating of these slippery roads, better road conditions, and reduction in accidents, because this happens frequently. And again, I said it before, it's not all about the car. It's really a lot of bicyclists and pedestrians who have problems with this nice romantic snow. Data, as I said before, we have information about the salt spreading routes. We have information on traffic and cycling accidents. We have height maps. There's a lot of information available. If you want more, if you have specific IDs, we'll work together with you and can see whether we can provide that. For the moment, we have already quite some data sets available on the data portal. So that concludes this presentation on the de-icing priority, and you can visit our website to check the call details. Email us if you have specific questions, and we will actually follow up immediately. So now I'm going back to Anthony and to see whether we still had some questions.
Thank you, Fons. Yes, indeed, we had one very important question during our live, and the question was, is the challenge focused on prevention of slippery roads, protection, or do you want to be more in control, efficient, effective when slippery roads occurred?
No, basically it's prevention, because if you prevent that the roads get slippery, then we of course prevent also the accidents. So that's really our focus in trying to prevent instead of treating roads where the damage is already done.
Thank you very much, Fons. So that was our most important question, the live. So if you have not followed us on live, please do ask your question on the website. There's an email address like you can see on your screen, hello@smartcityinnovation.eu, and we'll be happy to respond to you. Just let us remind you that the deadline is on the 2nd of October, and we hopefully see your applications in the next few weeks. Thank you, Fons. Thank you, everybody. And see you on Tuesday, the 11th of September for the next webinar, which will be in French and will be on maintenance of cities. Thanks, Fons. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.